Go ahead.
Today is Thursday, June 18th, and the time is 6 p.m. And we were opening the Cultural Council meeting. As a preliminary matter, this is Robin Lawson, Chair of the Newbury Cultural Council. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bart Bracken.
Here.
Marguerite Flanagan.
Here.
Lloyd Hemmelbit.
Here.
Diana Lord. Not. Margaret
Oh.
Russell.
Here.
Amy Swiniarski. And Amy Thurlow.
Yes.
Employee reps or other town attendees, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Susan Noyes.
Yes.
Anticipated guest speakers on the agenda, none. Introduction to remote meeting. Good evening. Today is an open meeting of the Newbury Cultural Council, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings at a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Newbury Cultural Council is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the Cultural Council agenda, which can be found on the Cultural Council section of the town's website. The agenda identifies how the public may join the meeting. This agenda can also be accessed from the website's homepage by clicking on the box that says Agendas at the top of the news box. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some or all attendees are participating by video conference. Materials were provided to the board committee members prior to the meeting for review. Meeting business ground rules. We are now going to read the first item on the agenda. Before we do, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. For any discussion items, I, the chair, will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, everyone other than board members, well, they'll skip over that because we have only board members. Participants can see you, so please be aware of your surroundings and take care to avoid interruptions of your cell phone or family members. Please use earbuds, earphones with tablet cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Take care not to screen share your blank. For items with public comment, the chair will open the floor for public comment for that particular hearing. If you have questions, please use the hand raise function within Zoom and we will allow you an opportunity to speak. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. The end. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Susan, Amy has joined us, and so Amy, for the official conduct of this meeting, I'm going to call your name, and would you please say here? Amy Swiniarski.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, are we ready? The first item on the agenda is grant modification requests. And Susan, please let me know if I'm doing this wrong. Has everyone had a chance to review the grant modification requests in the email inbox? Margaret, have you?
Yes.
Thank you. Amy, have you? Amy T, have you?
Yes.
Lloyd, have you? Yes.
Yep.
Bart, have you?
Quickly.
quickly.
Yes.
That's all that was needed. Minnie, have you?
Yes.
And Amy Swaniowski, have you?
Yes.
Excellent. So we all know what the grant modifications are for. I'm going to go back into the email and we can review them once I figure out how to do that.
All right.
Robin, can you, when you find it, can you tell us the date so we can find it too and to read along?
Yes.
Thank you.
Grant modifications for Newburyport Documentary Film Festival was sent on June 11th, or her reply was sent on June 11th. The Newburyport Documentary Film Festival was to make a decision on June 1st as to how to adjust to COVID-19 impacts. As we proceed for the 2020 Newburyport DocuFest, we expect to make the following adjustments. We will screen 8 feature films versus an estimated plan of 25. The films will be shown over a period of 7 days in the 3rd week of September. The physical festival has been planned for September 18th, had been planned for September 18th to 20th. We will continue to have audience interaction with the filmmakers, a hallmark of our festival, where questions will be submitted via a moderator, likely using Zoom. We will be purchasing a subscription to the Eventive platform for film screenings. This will be our biggest expense. We are still assessing the feasibility of our work in progress workshop and filmmakers panel. We are firmly committed to the student showcases with RAW Artworks of Lynn. The pricing structure is still being developed. We plan to present a feature documentary this summer to test run the technical platform that we will be using to host the virtual festival. With our preliminary expenses for this virtual festival being the Eventive platform and advertising, we are estimating a budget of approximately $11,000. We need to vote on the grant modification request, which essentially is to allow the documentary film festival to use the grant money for the virtual platform. That is really the main question. So I'm going to take a roll call. Minnie, you're on mute.
Yes.
Amy T,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yeah, great idea.
Bart,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
thank you. That is approved. Now I need to go back to the other one and bear with me a sec. All right, the other one was for, this one's a little bit more complicated. The Triton Music Parents Association has requested that the funds originally granted for the March performance will be instead given to seniors, allotted for senior scholarships as the students take lessons. Does anybody need any more information on that? I know you said you'd all reviewed them already.
Yeah.
So let's take a vote. Margaret?
Okay, so let me just confirm.
Okay.
So what was going to be used in March would have benefited a group as a whole, and the revision, what they're asking for is the money now to be used towards graduating senior scholarships, or I don't remember, is it seniors for 2021?
It's seniors for 2020.
For 2020. Right, yes.
Was there some mention, I'm sorry, was there some mention of undergrad too?
I don't believe so, but you could be right. Our senior scholarships will be paid out to our senior recipients this week. Undergrad scholarships will be awarded but paid out on a reimbursement basis as the students take lessons. So you're right.
I see.
Yeah, you're right.
So the scholarship is to reimburse for less, I'm sorry, did I interrupt Susan? Am I out of order? No. Good, thank you. So the scholarship is to help reimburse them for lessons. Is that correct?
I think that's the reason that, yes.
Okay, I wasn't clear.
And it was, this is Amy, it was originally intended as for a concert, correct?
Correct.
That would benefit the towns, a larger audience of townspeople.
True.
Remind me again how much it is.
It is, let me check my file 1 second.
While we wait, you know, for individual use, who administrates that? You know?
The Triton Music Parents Association.
Okay.
Based upon, is it all fair? I don't have a lot of information is, I think, my point.
You're breaking up, Amy.
I didn't,
Broke up.
how about now?
Better.
I don't see a lot of information. I don't know how they're dispensing the money. Is it evenly?
Right. And
We don't
Is there
know.
anyone, but if someone else has that information, please share. I could just be lost in email swamp.
She didn't provide that info. The request is to use, it's $480, by the way, to use that money to fund an existing scholarship program. And the details of the scholarship program, we don't know because she didn't tell us. But it's an existing program, and the Triton Music Parents Association, based on criteria we don't know, she's asking that the money be put into, allotted for the senior scholarship funds so that the seniors can benefit from the money. But the question about, I think there's a philosophical question about, does it benefit the town?
Yes.
And scholarships versus a performance. And I think that you can cut that in different ways.
So it boosts an already established scholarship.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
But would it be fair to say that the expenses have already been incurred? So this essentially would be reimbursement since school year is almost over.
The kids already got their checks. What did she say?
Under the circumstances, it seems reasonable, but I wonder what kind of a precedent it would set.
Right.
I don't know that it would set a precedent. I mean, I think you make a good point, Minnie, but this is an unprecedented situation.
Yeah.
They couldn't hold their concert, and they don't want to lose the money, and they want to benefit the kids who had, frankly, a very rough time this year. And but I understand your point, but I think we need to think out of the box here. And as I said, I'd like to just explore the question of the benefit to the town, because you also made a really good point. Does it benefit the town? Not like a performance does, but it possibly benefits the town in a different way, which is supporting the local students, but on an individual basis as opposed to a broader expenditure. So anybody have a comment about that?
I would say not just the local students, I would say local performing artists. So I think that's an important thing for us to consider. They are musicians. The other side of it, however, is this year, more money than ever has been given to students to go to college, making scholarships less necessary than ever. The CARES Act has been a really big deal for students. Academic institutions have more money than they've ever had before in their lives. But $480 is not a lot of money. So maybe it will buy someone a textbook.
That's right.
You could split hairs and say, did the student live in Newburyport, or does he live in Rowley or Salisbury?
Yeah.
Triton? You know, which town did he come from? And who determines who gets the money, and have they already distributed the money already?
I
Right.
know they've already distributed the money, right?
So
Yes.
Yes.
And just for a point of clarification, are we allowed to provide funds to scholarships?
yeah, that was, yeah.
Is that okay?
We haven't done it before.
I know,
We've actually declined it before.
right.
We have.
So what would be an alternative? In that it was going to be a performance that would be a group performance benefiting the town. I can't come to mind, nothing comes to mind to me right at this time as to what kind of alternative there is that would benefit the town for $480. And what happens if this is declined? Where does that money go?
Well, I don't think it matters what alternatives there are because they aren't applying for a modification with an alternative.
Mhm.
Wouldn't they have to reapply if they wanted to try another avenue?
Yes and no. If they wanted to apply the money to the percussion performance next spring, assuming that they can have it, then that would not, the grant modification would not be necessary because we already have granted them an automatic extension into next year.
Why
But
don't we just do that? That seems simple. You can
Right.
have the money for the event next year.
Mm.
And then we would have more money to give to other people.
well, they would apply, the music, Triton Music Parents Association would probably apply for a 2021 grant as well.
All
But
right,
I
but
don't, I think, I personally, I hate to have them, the Triton Music Parents Association, I think it would be unfortunate for them to lose the grant because of the inability to hold their concert.
I
Would
think
they
we
be
probably all
willing?
agree
They're not
with you.
losing it, they're just pushing it forward.
Right.
move it forward.
Do you think they'd be willing to do a Zoom online performance that would be advertised to the town?
Like Berkeley does.
Personally, I cannot imagine a
No.
percussion performance, and the kids are graduated.
They're graduated and they'd have to get together to do it and they wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's at all pragmatic.
Well, they would not have to get together. Berkeley's been doing them all along, but
The kids are graduated, Amy.
Yeah, but that's
Still
Berkeley,
home.
pretty high tech.
Yeah.
There's
And the Triton Music Parents Association is, you know, what they do, if you think about it, is they support the musicians in the school who frankly don't really have enough funding
Right.
through normal avenues.
I don't think anyone's arguing that they don't have enough funding. I think we're wondering if giving this to the scholarship is appropriate.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I
it
think
sounds
we
as though
want to do it. The question is, can we do it?
Right.
well, you know, I think that my take, and I know what you just said, Amy, about having denied scholarship requests before. From reviewing the MCC guidelines and sitting in on a couple of town halls, the local cultural councils have a tremendous amount of leeway in interpreting the guidelines, and I don't know this to be a fact, but my guess is, from what I do know, that the MCC would say, it's up to you. It's up to you to decide. So I don't think there were any hard and fast rules about not funding scholarships, but it's a very different application from what we originally granted the money for.
The Mass Cultural Council has scholarship funding in
Thank
several
you.
categories. So, in my opinion, we push it forward, and that's the easiest thing to do. And then it remains being a thing for the town. If the money stays as an event for the town, and next year they get the money, and it saves them the trouble of having to apply again.
Mhm.
And they apply every year.
They apply every year. That was my point before.
And there would be nothing to stop them from applying again if we carried this over, right?
So if we were going to do that, we would have to have some advice, I think, as to whether or not they could apply again.
Good point.
And, you know, so if we're just pushing it forward and saying, okay, we're going to give it to you for next year, but you can't apply again, essentially, you know, they've given it back, right? You know, I would say I like the idea of pushing it forward. I like the idea of keeping it out of a scholarship. On the other hand, I think I could argue that a scholarship at Triton is something that is supporting our town. Obviously, it's the 3 towns because of Triton, the uniqueness of Triton. But I think, you know, we have to promote and support the music program there.
Agreed.
I wonder how many of those students are Newbury, so those graduating seniors are Newbury kids.
That's
Do
what
we
I'm
know that?
wondering, yeah.
No, we don't know that, but you know, Triton, my take on that is Triton is Triton. And we fund all sorts of things that aren't necessarily Newbury, that
Right.
benefit Newbury.
Right.
And these are Triton students. And
So,
the graduating class is Triton, so that would be my response to that.
there was a paragraph in their request I'm going to read. One thing occurred to me when I was assembling the scholarship letters, blah, blah, blah. We're required to add the Cultural Council logo to our documents as the scholarship letters, which we did for the other cultural councils, but we can't add Newbury because we don't know yet if the modification will be approved. I'm not sure of the best way to meet the Cultural Council requirement of citing support from a particular cultural council after the fact. The award gathering has already happened, so they can't even and didn't even verbally mention us. What are our thoughts on that? So we have no credit
We have no credit, in other
not
words.
given.
Seemed like an afterthought.
It seems like it's required on their side. So I really would prefer to roll the money forward at this point because it's just uncharted waters.
Mhm.
I agree.
I think that's where I am as well, just to move it forward, but also to advise them that we would entertain an additional proposal from them for next year.
Yeah.
Good idea, yeah.
No,
Yes.
I agree. After hearing more information and recognizing that there would be no mention as to the funding coming from us, from the town.
Well, does that matter to us?
I think it should matter to the
Yeah.
state.
To who, Amy?
To the state. I mean, they are funding us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice for them to be acknowledged and for people to appreciate where that funding's coming from.
That's right.
Your tax dollars at work.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds as though the consensus is we need to take some notes. Unfortunately, we don't have a secretary, so I am going to have to multitask. The consensus is that the money can be used, carried into next year for the winter percussion show, and we will encourage the Triton Music Parents Association. Everybody needs to remember this because I'm not going to write this down. For an additional grant for another program for next year. Yes?
Mhm.
As
Yeah.
long as we're sure they can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say this again. You make a good point, Minnie, but we have a lot of latitude. The MCC does not have a lot of, strict restrictions on how we do what we do.
Mhm.
So,
Historically, the Council on Aging has applied multiple times, as has the library. So I think that's fine.
Right.
yeah, we don't usually grant a 2, but we could feasibly grant 2 next year. And
Yeah.
remember, when we made the decision to give them the 480 versus the 500 they applied for, is when I went back to Diane Carroll with her grant approval, I said that the board has asked that you apply to the other town councils, Rowley and Salisbury, to help defray this. And we'll be looking for that next year, or in the next grant cycle, which of course is in November. Okay,
Okay.
so we need to, I guess we need to follow Robert's Rules of Order, Susan.
Yes.
So I need to ask everybody, Margaret, yay?
Yay on what we have just discussed.
what I just described?
Push it forward, yes.
Mhm. Okay. Amy T,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes, push it forward.
Bart,
Yes.
Minnie,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes, pushing it forward, yes.
Robin, abstain. Okay.
So we don't have to.
The ayes have it.
We don't have to nix their request?
Hmm?
It's okay just to do that? We don't have to nix the request that they made for the modification? We don't have to.
Yeah, we
vote
do.
on that?
Yeah, we do. I need to write her back and say the answer was no. That they can apply the money for next year's program, and we will encourage them to apply next year for a second program, which I think is only fair. Depending on what else, if they even have another program. I think the winter percussion show is it, but I really don't know. Does anybody else know what else the Triton Music Parents Association does? No.
Uh-uh.
No, but is there a possibility they would host something in the fall and they could use these funds for a fall performance? Or are they tied to a winter performance?
They have the winter performance every March. They apply for the funding every year, and we grant them the money every year. And what else they do, I don't know, because they have never applied for anything else, unless somebody has history that I don't have. And that would be you, Amy and Amy.
Cross that bridge. If they come to it, they can ask again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Mhm.
But I will write her back and let her know that this is.
Okay, I just
No
wrote a
go.
note, a little shorthand note, Robin, I'm gonna text you, so. You have
Pardon
some words on that. I just wrote a little note, I'm gonna text you.
You know,
What
would
we
be even
just
better
said.
would be to. Do we have a chat, Susan?
Oh, we do have a chat, of course we do.
Yeah. Would be better, and
Chat. go
yeah,
ahead.
and if you're going to do that, Amy, Minnie, which would actually be quite helpful, if you could email it to the
Robin froze. Everybody froze,
yeah.
it's me.
In the interest of full transparency,
Shoot.
to
I
the
don't-
Gmail address.
Except I don't see the chat.
I
Pardon
don't see a chat either.
I don't see a chat, actually.
Yeah.
No.
In the corner.
We do not have the chat enabled for this.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're running into we're right at 6:30. So does anybody need to leave? Because we have a few other things on the agenda.
I just texted it to you. Oh, it didn't go. I'll figure this out after the meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Or it
Yeah,
did.
don't don't text me, please. That's a whole different thing.
Mm.
So does anyone have to leave right now?
In a few minutes, but I'm okay for now.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is the survey. And Susan, you were going to speak to us about how you can support us in conducting the survey.
Yeah, well, Robin spent a few minutes describing to me that you all had a goal of trying to get a survey out to the community. And certainly given the state that we are in right now, it's even that much more difficult to try and get feedback as it relates to programs from your residents or general public or your the people that you support, or extended beyond that. So I suggested, I just said, why don't you just do a survey? You can do that in Google. I've done it a couple of times before for a couple of other boards and committees. We can link it right from your cultural council page. We can post it on Facebook. Perhaps the library can get it out too, because there's, a extended market there. You guys can all share it. You can share it to people who might be interested in participating in it through social media. So there's a lot of different avenues that you can try and get that message out and get the feedback that you so desire. The biggest piece of that is putting the time into what the questions are. And Robin indicated that you pretty much have already spent some time doing that. So, it should be fairly straightforward to put it together. My only time constraint right now is the next couple of weeks with town meeting and everything going on end of year. I couldn't start it quite yet, but I can do it right after the start of the new fiscal year, which would be July 1.
Susan, are we able to do a push to everybody's email. So I know that, there's people who have signed out for notifications of town meetings and all of that. Could we push the request for filling out the survey to that distribution list?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I make all those posts on the town website. So once we have that created, we have a, active link that we can attach it to, make the announcement. You guys would, formulate what you'd want that to be. I think you're the best persons to do that. And then I can post it up there. I can add the link to where the survey is and get it out.
Would be amazing.
Be great.
I think that's our best effort, right? I mean, we're going to be able to get it right to people's emails, as well as a number of websites links. So that sounds like a great opportunity.
Excellent.
I
I think
got
we'll
kicked off.
reaching more people.
Yeah, and that's what you want, obviously, right? You want to reach as many people as you possibly can. And I think a lot of people are in that mode right now too, right? Because we've all kind of been forced to work differently. So a
Yes.
lot more people are connected in that way. So I think that you'll probably be hopefully surprised at the amount of response that you'll get.
So I got kicked off. What is the, did we talk about the in-person? Because that was a requirement before. We had to reach out in some way in person. We were going to put boxes up and all that's null and void now. Is that okay? Did you guys already discuss that?
No.
No.
I think it's fair to say that that's null and void under the
Next time.
circumstances.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
So next steps are, what does everybody think about the timing? We're talking about the fiscal year start July 1, Susan.
Right.
So any comments about doing it over the summer as opposed to possibly waiting for the fall?
Personally, I think we wait for the fall. I think you're going to have a lot of people not read it in the summer.
I agree.
I agree. Summer is summer. It's still summer.
Mhm.
Fine with me.
So after Labor Day?
After Labor Day.
After the,
Mhm.
What I would suggest is if you think that you've finalized what you want those questions to be, get that to me. I can create it and not make it public, so at least it's done.
Mm.
And then
And
that
we can
gives you
review it.
time to talk about your announcement and what message you want to get out with this survey.
So Susan, we were going to put it up on SurveyMonkey. I haven't done it yet, but is that what you were thinking, or what do you mean?
In the past, I've just used Google. They have a survey element. And
So you'll
I've
do that
used-
for us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then sold.
So
I wonder if we want to think about the timing, because if this is supposed to inform decision making for the fall, cycle, do we want to make sure that, if we put it out September 1st, what the turnaround and the timeline is, so that we have responses by mid-October to then help us, make determinations about future grants.
what do you think about a deadline? I was thinking September 30th. That's a very good point, Amy. Thank you. Susan, what do you think about a deadline?
I mean, you've already given me the summer, so.
No, but I think just based on your experience and when people respond, and you need to, send out reminders or.
Well, you know what? We're in a different time too. I think, yes, people are going to go away at summertime, but I think we're also going to have that other percentage that aren't going to go anywhere.
Right.
And again, I think more people now are oh, I want to check my email or what's going on in social media, because that's kind of their only outlet these days. So, I think that if you want to start receiving stuff in, when do you start reviewing?
The deadline for
Your-
grant applications is to be submitted is October 15th, and we normally have our voting meeting sometime before Thanksgiving. I mean, I should obviously before Thanksgiving. What I
And
should have
are
said
your
was in early to mid-November.
And tell me
Definitely.
what you're trying to accomplish with the survey along with the application. What's the relationship? Is there any?
The idea is that we get an idea from the people, the residents of Newbury, as to what their priorities are. That helps us determine which applicants should get
Okay.
grants based on that and how much. Make
Okay,
sense?
gotcha.
And of course we do, and survey, not the Google thing, whatever it is, the Google survey, that does the tabulation.
Yes.
Does that do an analytics? It has an analytics
Yep.
portion? Okay, great.
Excellent. So
I have
just to throw this out, go ahead, sorry.
I do agree that, I mean, I'm on all my emails 24 hours a day. It is the end of my fiscal year, so that's part of the reason why. But if we're going to give people a month to reply, if they don't check their email in a month, then that's okay. I feel like you could send this out in the summertime and people are going to see it. I do think you need to put a deadline on it, because if you don't give me a deadline, I'm not doing it.
Oh, it has to have a deadline.
The deadline you give me, the longer I'm going to push it off.
And are we able to send it out more than once? So send it out once and then send out a reminder?
Well, you can, yeah, I mean, we can certainly repost again or remind people, right? So for sure. But I agree with Amy T. I think that you really want to, all of us, right? Oh, I'll get to that later. You really want to be very upfront about what you're trying to accomplish in your introduction, when you want this back, and why it's so important to get it back in a timely manner. And, you know, don't make it a, you know, I don't know how many questions you put together. I wouldn't make it super, super long. No
It's only
more
like 10.
no more than 10, right?
Yeah.
So you can, you know, so it's very easy for them to go through and make their selection. That give them a little comment box if they want to add more comments, and let them send it. You know, keep it simple and easy, because they're more apt to engage. They start.
We
to go
have it already done, Susan.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant just them physically going through it. You know, when you send it out, you want them to be able to look at it and say, oh, that doesn't look too bad. I'm just going to do it now. That's what you
Right,
want.
right, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Prefer it.
I'm
So,
looking at it now. There are 11 questions, and that includes asking them where the demographics, where they live, how old they are, and so there really are only, honestly, actually less than 10 questions.
I would recommend you do a age range and not an age.
Yeah, we have. I'll send this to you, Susan.
Okay.
Okay.
And so then we would need to craft the message that sort of explains what we're trying to accomplish and why people,
Yep.
you know, why that would accomplish, you know.
Right.
Company.
And why it's important to the town. Yep.
Yeah. And
So
to
that
your
would go
point in
out
that
like a
message,
cover letter kind of a thing with the survey?
Just
Well,
kind of an introduction. I
sentences.
wouldn't make
I
it so
agree.
formal in a letter.
Did we already include that on the survey, some information as to
Here's what it
why-
says now. The Newbury Cultural Council is one of over 350 councils that make up the Massachusetts Cultural Council,
Yeah, we
which
did
will put you immediately to sleep. Our mission is to award grants to artists, performers, community organizations, educators, and school groups that serve the cultural needs of our community. Please complete this survey to help us set our funding priorities. We can do better than that. That's what we have now.
No, we did this with the
I
person.
think you want to
tone that down.
I
What?
think maybe we need to express why it's important that each one that them does the survey.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Opinion count, some sort of.
Yeah, we need to jazz it up and make it more compelling.
But we did do
I would
all
include
the person from the Mass Cultural Council. She came and we went through the whole thing with her. So
Yeah.
we got guidance from the council itself. So I think we're on both. I think we got it going.
Yeah, I just think that we could, I think this can be rephrased.
I think we need an encouraging bullet there.
Mhm.
Your opinion is important too.
Mhm.
Well, we want to
Is there a
formulate-
risk if we put it out a month before it's due? It seems to me that might be too long, because there's a risk they'll say, oh, I don't need to do this for a month, I'll do it later, and then it gets buried in their email.
I totally agree. That's what I said too. I think
Yeah.
2 weeks is more than sufficient.
Me too. I know that's
Okay.
what would happen to me.
All right, so what we decided, the 2-week deadline, and what do we think about summer versus waiting until after Labor Day? You know what I was thinking regarding the summer is that a lot of people, we want to hear from people who have children. And I think the summer is going to be really tough for a lot of parents.
Well, I think
Well-
if we do it after
Closed,
Labor
and
Day, that
they're going to have to find stuff to do with their kids.
Mhm.
And I think that's going to be a real challenge. But so
That's
I
an
don't want to
11
wait until
question
September,
survey.
but go
I
ahead.
know.
But it's an 11 question survey. We're not asking them to come to my house and clean it. It's an 11 question survey. Just
Mhm.
click in here, make sure we're giving your school the funding you're asking for, and then we move on. That's all it is.
but if we put a 2-week deadline on it, then we get them back before the end of September. That's going to be plenty of time, isn't it?
How
Yes.
about we how about we do the following? How about sending it out mid-August and doing the reminder in mid-September?
I like that.
I definitely think you need a reminder in there. If it's going to be 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think, like maybe 4 or 5 days before it's due, to send a reminder for people to find it in their inbox. Because a lot of people look at their emails and they say, oh yeah, that looks interesting, I have to get to that. And then they forget. And then they get the reminder and they respond to that.
Simple, gentle reminder. Mm.
Yeah.
Even mid-August and then the reminder the first week of September.
Yeah.
Mid-September, that's a month
I would agree.
and some.
That's fine.
That's
So,
a month all told.
so if we were to say we send the survey out August 15th and the deadline is September 15th, just to choose some dates out of the air, with a reminder going out right after Labor Day, does that make sense to everybody?
Yep,
Yes.
that's
Okay.
fine.
Like that.
Good.
And I would recommend that when you're thinking about your statement, just really, what does their time do for you? So, just talk about, we want to know where your interests are, but what does the result of that survey allow you to do?
Yeah, got it.
Mhm.
So
All right, next
send
thing
those
on the,
questions to me, so
sorry.
Robin, if you could send me what you have so I can kind of start working on it. Again, I don't have to make it public, but I can start pecking away at it and give you guys an opportunity to look at it in its final form well before you want to get it out. So if you want to tweak it at all, you can do that.
I'd like to make sure that we all agree on the preamble, which we were just discussing first, and I'll take a crack at rewriting it based on what you just said. So we'll circulate that among ourselves, and when we agree on it, then we'll shoot it over to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine. And don't feel like you have to hold the questions because I can do that piece of it separately.
Right.
I'm sorry, don't feel you were breaking up. What? Don't feel as though what?
You can send me the questions before you send me the introduction to
Oh,
what
okay.
the survey is.
Okay, yeah, that's done.
Okay?
Okay, yep. Mhm.
Okay.
All right, next
Perfect.
thing on the agenda, so I guess we need to vote on that. So we're voting on the conducting the survey with Susan's support, the timing being mid-August to mid-September with a reminder and a month deadline, and rewritten, coming to consensus on a rewritten intro. Margaret,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yeah.
Bart,
Yes.
Minnie,
Yes.
Amy?
Which one?
Yes. Me, yes.
You can go.
While I
you can
have
both go at
signal, I'm
once.
having a hard time with internet tonight. I don't know what's going on.
Amy?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the next thing on the agenda is new council members expiring terms, which we discussed briefly. Amy T has re-upped for 3 years, thank goodness. And Amy Swiniarski, I believe this is your swan song.
Yes,
Hi,
it is.
Amy. We will miss you.
I will miss you.
I will miss you too.
Hey, Amy, 3 years from now, you can come back.
I will mark my calendar.
Yeah, and you can take over for me as chair, right? I did it for you.
That's true. I owe you.
And so Amy's going to work with Diana to do the handoff because Diana is dropping off the council, and Amy is taking over for Diana as treasurer. Amy T, would you please tell everybody what you told Susan and me at the beginning of the call regarding Michelle?
So I have a neighbor who is very artsy, and she has agreed to join. She wrote the letter. She has been approved. We were both approved the other day, so we just need to get signed in. So she'll be joining us, and that means we have another member from Old Town, which you know I was keen on.
Yes.
So that's good. Yeah, she has a lot of experience working with massive cultural organizations. So I think she'll have a lot to share with us.
That is wonderful. And do you think she'll take over? Do you think she'll maybe assume the secretary's job?
Yeah, I was going to say, can we take a vote on we need a secretary? Yeah, I think we can sucker her into it.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. It's
She's
not
super
actually,
detailed,
having
so
done
I
it
think-
before I became the chair, it is not that much work. So we'll ask her that when we have our next meeting.
I will let you ask her that. I'm not going to break that one to her.
Could you tell me her name?
I'll beg you
again?
and I'll beg her.
Her name is Michelle Ouellette, and she has lived here for, I read her letter, 54 years for most of the time, or when she was a kid, it was in the summer, but she lives on the other side of the Parker River. I live on this side, she lives over there,
How do you spell Ouellette?
with an O.
Ouellette.
Cool.
There are a lot of them around here, Bart. You'll get used to it.
That's her married name.
There's lots of-
I cannot
there's lots-
remember her maiden name right now, but
There are a lot of Ouellettes. There are a lot of Thurlows.
yes, there are.
Okay, so I don't think we need to discuss that any further. Let me look at my list here. We've got,
Does anyone else have anyone as a new member? Are we good? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with Michelle.
I think we're there.
Okay.
yeah, we seem to have a good complement now.
All right.
The next thing on the agenda is upcoming grant cycle, which really is what it is. So, as just discussed, the applications are due the 15th of October, and then we will do our usual informal meeting, and then a formal voting meeting as we've done. Everybody was here last year, right, Bart?
Yes.
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 So everybody on this call has at least one grant cycle under his or her belt. So we'll do the same thing last year. The other thing that at some point, if we can actually get together in person sometime, I would love to just have a discussion about some of the ideas that Mina had when we met with her, to be more than just a rubber stamp approval for grants applications group, and see if we have energy, especially with Michelle joining. We have energy and creativity to maybe do more than we have been doing historically. But that's just to put that away in your memory bank to do when life gets back to quasi normal. Any comments on that?
Sounds great.
Okay. All right. I think the meeting can adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Bye, Amy. It was great
Bye,
meeting you.
everybody.
Great working
Thank
with you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good
Stay
summer.
safe.
Okay. Thanks,
Sure.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.